going on YouTube? It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. And in today's video, we're going to talk about gold versus Bitcoin and which one has the most long-term potential. And I'll also talk about the pros and cons of both of these asset classes and where I think the future is headed, both in the short term and in the long term. We'll also discuss legendary investor Warren Buffett potentially eyeing the space and some comments on Mr. Elon Musk as well. So thanks again for joining us, and stick around. We'll get right into it in just a second. So as we said, the topic in today's video is gold versus Bitcoin. We'll dive right into this. So before we get into the charts, I want to just highlight a couple of news articles. So we know that Warren Buffett purchased a stake in Barrick Gold Company, which was worth $563 million. So that suggests that he is starting to change his tune on gold, and he's since bashed the asset in the past. But he did admit that he was wrong and that hyperinflation is happening a lot quicker than he thought would happen. And honestly, he probably didn't think it was going to happen in his lifetime. But if you look at Venezuela, Brazil, Lebanon, which has lost about 80% of its currency's value over the last year, and the turmoil that they're in right now, it's a serious risk. And with the 2.3 trillion that the Federal Reserve printed into the economy, it's creating huge question marks, especially amongst legendary investors like Warren Buffett. And a lot of people are speculating that it's just a matter of time before he's wrong about Bitcoin. He called it rat poison and gambling, but he also was wrong about Apple and Amazon. And now Amazon's one of the biggest companies in the world, went from about $3 or $5 a share to over 3,000 US. And at one point, Apple was worth about 50% of his portfolio. And that's just not something that a traditional old school investor would likely do. But as you can see, he's starting to lose a little bit of his touch. A lot of people on Wall Street are speculating that it could be due to his age. Who knows? But a lot of people are also speculating that he could potentially FOMO and start panic buying Bitcoin at around $50,000. And if Bitcoin reaches $50,000, that would have to mean that a lot of this money would have come from fiat currency. So maybe once the US dollar potentially starts to fail, we start to see Bitcoin reach that mark. A lot of people are thinking that $50,000 is achievable in this bull run, or $100,000. Some are speculating up to $200,000 of Bitcoin at the end of this bull run, which could potentially last 2 to 3 years. We'll have to wait and see. Elon Musk also commented recently that he sides with the Winklevoss twins, basically saying that Bitcoin is a safer investment than gold because of near-Earth asteroids that are filled with the precious metals. He also said in quotations that is the problem with gold is that the supply isn't fixed like Bitcoin. Bitcoin will only ever have 21 million Bitcoins ever created. And I found this table here in comparison chart of the three currencies and stores of value, so Bitcoin, gold, and fiat. By the way, there's never been a single fiat currency that has stood the test of time and succeeded. Every single one has basically failed. And there's no reason to think that the US dollar or the Canadian dollar should be any different. If Bitcoin overall, you can see here, it outranks and has a better rating overall than gold and fiat. Now we know a lot of the argument with gold versus Bitcoin is that gold is tangible. You can touch it, you can make gifts and jewelry and that type of thing. Bitcoin is the better money, hands down, in my opinion. It's not really about the tangibility. It's not really about, whether or not you can have another use for it, because deep down, the real question is which is the better money? So forget wearing it. Which one is the better store of value? Which one is the better medium of exchange? And in my opinion, that's Bitcoin. As you can see here, it's the only thing that it's not better at is an established history. It's fungible and durable. Gold is physical, but the portability alone in Bitcoin, I mean, the fastest way to get $100,000 or $200,000 or here to point A to point B, so from one side of the world to the other side of the world, is to fly it on a plane, because it takes days through traditional banking systems to get that money there. And that's just crazy to think that in the information age, when everything's so on demand and happens in a flash, that we're still lagging in that department. So I think that Bitcoin is obviously hands down, because it's more scarce. Elon Musk said NASA has a plan to actually visit a nearby asteroid that contains tons of gold. Whether or not it happens in a year, 3 years, 5 years, we don't know. But that's always a possibility and could easily increase the supply of gold. And also, the more people, the more time and resources we throw at gold, the more we can increase the supply. But with Bitcoin, it's scarce. And like Elon alluded to earlier, that's the problem with gold, is that it's not fixed like that of Bitcoin. So diving into the charts real quick here, so we can see that gold is still in blue sky breakout territory. We have an indecision candle here on the monthly. We have lower volume than normal, and that's expected with the summer looming upon us. Diving into the weekly, we're still in a weekly uptrend. Can take a look at the daily chart. So we bounced off on the weekly. So those that aren't in a position, maybe you entered on that weekly high or low, or maybe you're waiting for a monthly high or low if you're looking to get in for the real long term. So if you're looking to hold 3 to 5, 10 years out, maybe you're looking for a monthly high or low. Maybe you're looking for a weekly high or low. Maybe you just got in. And if you're a bear, maybe you're looking to short daily lower high. Maybe you took a short here at the EMA 12 resistance, which has been acting as resistance. And we could easily be setting a daily lower high. And it's all about this level here, which is the 1862. If we're able to hold that 1862 level, that will negate the downtrend. So right now, basically lost the uptrend, but we're looking to form a lower high and a higher low, potentially form an equilibrium. We'll see a breakout to the upside or the downside, or we could potentially be setting our lower high here. We'll just have to keep an eye on the hourly chart, as we're still in an hourly downtrend. Once we've changed that hourly trend bullish, then we can be confident that our daily high or low is set and that the daily bounce is still underway. If we take a look at Bitcoin on the monthly chart, so we could be forming a cup and handle here on the monthly. We still haven't formed a monthly high or low. So for those that are patient bulls, maybe you're waiting for a monthly high or low. Maybe you're waiting for a test of EMA 12 or 26 resistance. Like I said, there hasn't been a monthly high or low since the COVID bounce. If we take a look at the weekly, we also haven't formed a weekly high or low in 5 candles. So maybe you're waiting for a weekly high or low to enter on a long-term investment. Daily is forming an ascending triangle. So personally, I think that Bitcoin looks stronger at the moment. We'll have to see how the overall broader markets open this week, but I personally don't own any gold at the moment. I own Bitcoin. I own a lot of Bitcoin, full disclaimer there. This isn't a recommendation to buy one or the other. This is just for educational purposes, and hopefully you're able to find value in this information here today. Honestly, Bitcoin is the way of the future, in my opinion. You can send money. I sent money from my bank account to ShakePay, which is a Canadian exchange, within a minute or two. And from there, I was able to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum and then withdraw it right away. There's no withholding period. So it's crazy to see how fast and how mature the on-ramps are and how mature the space is. You can own Bitcoin in 2 minutes flat. You can withdraw the Bitcoin. You can send it to somebody halfway around the world. I mean, that's just completely unheard of. And the more that I use the technology, the more that time goes on, it's absolutely astonishing how ingenious this invention of Bitcoin really is. And I think the world will wake up to it. I think that Warren Buffett will eventually put some of his net worth, if he's still alive, God forbid anything happens to him. But I mean, he is getting older. So a lot of people that are in their late years in life, they tend not to go with risky investments. So it's not surprising that he went with gold, because it stood the test of time, and that's just what those types of investors are used to. And you don't generally trade what you don't understand. And he already admits that he's not a tech guy. He doesn't really understand Bitcoin, just like he didn't really understand Apple or Amazon. So you have to consider that he may potentially put 1 or 2% into his net worth, like Paul Tudor Jones. But it's nice to see that we're seeing some kind of confirmation from the likes of Warren Buffett about hyperinflation, shift over to gold miner as from the banks as a traditional form of investing. So we'll have to see. Let me know in the comments down below what you're most interested in. If you're invested heavily into gold or Bitcoin, which one you think is the best long-term investment. I'd be curious to hear what everybody has to say, but hands down, in my opinion, Bitcoin in the long term, gold in the short term potentially, but we should likely see them both move in correlation to each other, in my opinion. But long term, definitely I'm investing in Bitcoin. I've got about 2% of my net worth invested into Bitcoin, and that's in a no-touch position. I also have some Bitcoin that I trade actively, and that is more of a short-term investment. So I have my no touch and I have my day trading account. And honestly, I've been trading Bitcoin since it was $3,000. I've been trading Bitcoin now for several years, and it stood the test of time. The fact that we tested the 3K level and bounced right back to 10K, it has just shown the resilience of these bulls. And I really do think that we're in a once in a lifetime opportunity with Bitcoin. And a lot of these legendary sought after investors will soon start to flock to Bitcoin as well. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you found this information valuable and you're able to take some of this analysis and apply it to your situation and your trading and investment style. If you are interested in joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, you can visit us at powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com. Check us out for a free trial. If you want to stick around, it's only $4.99 a month. We work as a group collectively to get an upper hand on the market and have an unfair advantage. So check us out at powgroup.ca, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.